Mm. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream today. I'm trying to set up everything, so I do apologize if things are a little bit off script for today's live stream video. Nothing too exciting that I want to talk about in today's lessons, but actually, I'm not even sure if today's going to be a lesson. But basically, I am just going to hang out for a little bit. And maybe I'll do a couple of coding challenges. If you have anything interesting that you want me to kind of try to mock up in today's video, maybe let me know in the little chat dialogue. And I don't see anyone here yet. But yeah, if you have any type of screenshot that you want to send over to my side, I'll take a look at it and I'll try to give my best shot at building out that particular application. Obviously, there are a ton of things that I don't know how to do. So if I am not able to build out whatever your current user request is, I am terribly sorry. So hello, everyone. I don't do a whole lot of these live streams. I think I might do one today and hold off on next week. And we'll just kind of see what, I guess, what I feel like during the week. I just wrapped up on recording a video and, did all the edits, thumbnails, and what else? Preparing the projects, uploading it onto YouTube, and all that fun stuff. And I have a couple of beverages of choice that I am going to try to get into my system. Not really sure why people aren't really showing up just yet. So I'll give this a couple of seconds here. And maybe I can change the focus of the camera. What's up, M6? Hello, Mecarpac X Salah. What's up, you guys? Let me know if the audio's doing okay. Should be fine. Maybe I'll move the focus of this guy over a little bit here. Yeah, that should be a little better. Not that it makes a difference. So what are you guys doing? Audio's good. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to a ton of your guys' questions. But I'm just hanging out for a little bit. I have a can of Asahi beer. Do you guys drink when you guys are coding? I know for me, during the middle of the day, I typically have coffee in the morning. And then when I get really tired, what I like to do is to just break open a can of beer, relax, and try to de-stress from all the coding. And I feel like when I'm de-stressed, I can get back into the groove of typing out code for maybe like an hour or at best an additional 2 hours. And that's how I kind of cap off my coding, my night coding sprint. But beer coding is always the best. I can't drink at the workplace. I remember working way back in San Francisco. We used to have like open keg nights. Basically the company has kegs on tap. Every Friday there's a happy hour in office happy hour. Just have as much beer as the company has to offer. It's a really fun process, or a fun place to be if you're kind of young and you want to enjoy your young coding careers. And I'm going to have that in this little, what kind of cup is this called? It's not exactly a wine glass. It's like the tip of the wine glass without the stem. So let's try to do some ASMR. And I just never drink. I used to not drink a lot, and I still don't. I think every week or so, maybe I'll have one, either a beer or some type of alcoholic beverage. Ooh, look at all that foam. I guess I should pour it diagonally. As you can see, I don't drink out of cans very often. I usually have the glass bottle. So cheers to everybody in the stream. Happy Wednesday. No, happy Tuesday. We're almost on Wednesday. In America, we call Wednesday hump day. Do you guys also call Wednesday hump day? You know, in terms of like the beginning is that, and hump is the Wednesday, and everything should be downhill from tomorrow. That's really good. Oh, to have a beer at 3 p.m. It's got to be happy hour somewhere, right? Oh man, that's really good. If you guys can have your own beer, cans of beer ready, maybe every week I'll have a happy hour, online happy hour. How about we make that a thing for the rest of 2019? Pour the beer sideways. Yeah, I just realized. Thanks, Raul, for the tip. It's a little too late, but thanks. I really wish I can tell you guys how good this tastes. Whew. Okay, so do you guys know what Behance is? I'm gonna switch over to this screen here. So basically, Behance is a website that shows you a lot of kind of like designs and whatnot. Hopefully I can move this and this. Okay, let's put this in the middle. So I typically like to find like different iOS apps to build by going on either Behance or Dribble, you know, the 5 other really famous design websites for, you know, just loading mobile designs. And whenever I find something interesting, I try to build it out using a little bit of code. Maybe I'll mock it up in like something like Adobe XD, but typically I don't. So if you guys have anything interesting enough that you want to see me build out, maybe I can try it out in today's stream. Otherwise, I'll just hang out. After I just had a drink of the beer, I don't really feel like coding anymore. Where's the chat? So Richard says we have a beer fridge at work for Friday afternoons, but it's normally work has finished. I find that work never finishes in the software programming industry. There's constantly features that we have to build out and then bugs we have to fix. And whenever we fix those bugs, we have to test, release onto staging, make sure production has it. And then finally, if the testing team is able to get to it, then it's their job to verify everything works out. You know, usually nothing really works out the very first time. And what you get is a lot of back and forth between the features that you build out and the bug fixes inside of your apps. That's kind of the way it goes.不务正业，搞直播，直播好玩吗？ auto resizing table view cells could be good content. I think I made I made at least 10 different videos on auto resizing cells. So if you want to watch auto resizing cells yet again, I don't know. I don't know. The thing I realized after doing YouTube videos for so long is that you always get these questions from people that are asking you for things that you've already done before in the past. And, you know, you just get kind of irritated for no good reason. It just gets frustrating. It's really nobody's fault. Okay. Let's see, how's the stream doing? 61 Swift programmers trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing today. That's interesting. How many of you guys watch the videos during the release time or the release of the video? I typically put it out at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, PST. The reason why I do that is because I found that typically the people on the West Coast wake up at around that time, and I'm trying to make that video available during like their commutes. I don't know why they would want to watch this during their commute, but that's the time when I release the video. If you guys feel like there's a better time, then maybe I'll change it up, or maybe every other video I'll change it up. But one of the things about YouTube is that consistency is a huge part of gaining a bigger and better audience. So being able to release on a schedule, like a set schedule, is a pretty big thing, pretty big deal. Release at night is better. Yeah, I think I tried releasing at night. I think the problem with at night is that not a lot of people are watching, or people are having dinner and they're kind of not on the computer anymore. You can argue that they're on their phones, but I'm not sure if releasing at night is a good idea. Okay, Iniko says, could I someday teach how to make a framework? Sorry if you did before. So I haven't done that before. So okay, at night PST, morning GMT. Yeah. So yeah, I did change my mic, RPX 974. I don't know if the mic is better or not, but the reason why I changed the microphone is because I didn't like having this big old thing in front of me the whole time. It's like really awkward. If you guys have done video recording before, if the mic is right in front of you, then like you can't move your hands as freely. And I think I had that mic for like 2 years. So I still have it, but I just have one of these things here. If I move it up, hopefully the audio is not too bad. So it's just one of these things. This is called I believe it's called a boom microphone. And this one's like the cheapest one. It's from Audio Technica, I believe. Yeah, it's like $150. I don't know. It's whatever. As long as the audio is okay. I'm not trying to go for like premium level audio on the videos. The thing I realize is it doesn't exactly matter the microphone, the type of microphone that you have. If you guys are trying to get into video tutorial recording, the microphone, while it's important that you get a microphone that's like above $100 to $150 if you want like really good audio. Like 8 out of 10, if you're trying to go for like an 8.5 out of 10 audio level, you know, like something really good, but you're not trying to spend $1,000 now. You know, let's not kid anyone. We don't have $1,000 to spend on a microphone. So I would say spend something from, you know, in the range of $100 to $150. You'll pretty much get like a really good mic. Now, aside from the mic, it's actually the type of the ambient noise inside of your room actually plays a huge part. So right now there's a lot of echo. Like you guys probably can't tell exactly what the echo is, but it sounds kind of hollow. So I feel like I want to do some audio treatment on the walls here. So it's just nothing but an empty wall. And so what's happening is the audio vibrations are coming back into the mic. So I feel like I might do something about that. But overall, yeah, I think I've found something that's decent. I don't know. You guys probably don't care. And I feel like everyone has so many questions about Swift. And I think 90% of these questions I don't have the answer to. So for example, a video on clean Swift architecture. You know, to be honest, I don't super care about the architecture of an app. Um, it's only important if your application is like on the magnitude of maybe like 20,000 lines of code. If you're just starting out, then your architecture is not going to be like that important. At the end of the day, your architecture is going to spiral into something that's out of control anyways. And every application is very, very different. So trying to find like a particular architecture that fits, I don't know, 5 different applications is it's not feasible. It's not a reasonable thing to do, is what I would say. What about more testing stuff? To be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with testing. I know how to write tests, and the thing that's weird is it's hard to test things on, like, it's hard to test UI. So maybe someday I'll do some more further research on UI testing, but that's hard. And it's really easy to test things like unit test this function here to make sure it does the correct thing. Make sure that 2 different components utilizing some shared component, make sure that these 3 things are integrated together correctly using an integration test. That's also like reasonably easy. But when it gets down to, let's say, like some component fetching some data from the internet, rendering on the screen, make sure that the button in the rendered cell, make sure that it triggers something correctly inside of the UI. It's like, I don't know how to do that. And if someone has a good solution for it, then maybe I'll show it. How much longer do you think people will use apps for? So as long as we have phones, then we'll use apps. The thing about apps is, I think like 3-4 years ago, everybody was into using applications on their phone, like an actual app. But if you're a company that doesn't have a huge user base, then I would say that having an app doesn't make a whole lot of financial sense. That's just my opinion, though. So you have to be like Amazon or Lyft, Uber, these big companies, and then having an app would make sense. But yeah, they're going to be with us for the next, I don't know, 5 to 10 years. Apps have been out for, apps have been around for like 30 years now. So what's going to happen? What's going to make them go away, really? Siri Kit. No, I don't have any experience with Siri Kit. Siri Kit is amazing. I don't really like Siri, but I'm sure the Siri Kit framework's good. Pretty much every framework that Apple comes out with is like really easy to work with, which is kind of surprising. Glenn Adams, I enjoyed your Kingdom course, taking core data next. Thanks, Glenn. It does help to have the support there. What do I think about reactive programming? Well, what do you guys think? What is your thought process on reactive programming? Because a lot of it is honestly just personal and stylistic preference. That's how I think about it. Yeah, I don't know. Most of these answers, I don't really have a really strong preference. Core data was informative. Nice. Airbnb engineering. Let's see what this is. Okay, Airbnb. Let's see. Close out of you. Sunsetting React Native. Yeah, I remember reading this last year. I read the entire article. So if you guys aren't aware of what this article is, it's right here. Basically, the discussion revolves around sunsetting the entire React Native code base that they built out, or the code base that they built using React Native. And they went into a lot of detail as to why they made this decision. I can't remember the exact reasons why, but I think, well, I guess here it is: move faster, maintaining the quality bar, write code once instead of twice, improve developer experience. So I guess they weren't able to meet all these 4 requirements. So write code once instead of twice, that's kind of impossible to achieve no matter what you do. Improve the developer experience, that was kind of difficult for them because there weren't a lot of React Native developers out there at the time. And I think there was a discussion where they said that even though they spent all that time investing in the React Native technology, there were like, I think 30 to 40% of developers saying that if they were to do it all over again, then they would choose native instead of React Native. Was it like 30% that said that, or some significant percentage had that opinion? So I guess in other words, they didn't really see the advantage of using React Native as their main architecture. Yeah, I do recommend that, like, people that are getting into application architecture to take a look at this article. Yeah. So it's not all bad. 60% would describe their experience as amazing, 20% were slightly positive, 15% were slightly negative, and 5% were strongly negative. So you look at it, 40% of people didn't have like an amazing experience. To have a slightly positive experience is like kind of okay, but this is a pretty low bar. It's like using Xcode is, I would say, more than just slightly positive for me at least. Yeah, let me think about this one. So if I were to rank Xcode on this same criteria, I would say for me, Xcode is like 50% positive, and 50% is just frustrating. Nah, maybe like 70% of Xcode is good, and 30% of it is like kind of trash. 63% of engineers would have chosen React Native again, given the chance, and 75% would consider React Native for a new project. It is worth noting that inherent selection bias, yeah, true. 80,000 lines of product screens, 220 screens, 40,000 lines of JavaScript infrastructure. Yeah, they had a ton of people working on the tooling for their React Native architecture. Yeah. So what did they plan to do? Did they go native or? And they talked about how they were rendering things on the fly, like on the fly rendering from a server file. Epoxy components, open source epoxy enables easy heterogeneous recycler views, collection of views, table views. Most new screens use epoxy. So this is nice. Like, the thing that I hate most about iOS development, wow, what's this? Go away. The thing I hate most about iOS development is that you have to build out all these lists constantly over time. It gets really annoying. It's just like there's so much code that you just repeat day in, day out that it gets really boring. And if you can simplify the process of creating a really tedious component like this using epoxy, however you pronounce this word, I don't know. Yeah, this looks really clean. So let's see, in iOS, their epoxy framework allows you to do case header, case input row, content input side. So this looks very similar to Flutter. So it's just like these are the widgets here. And these are the properties associated to the widget, and there should be some rendering pass. So this is the rendering pass, I believe. Cell first name, input text, rebuild. I feel like everyone that has worked on iOS for a long time has attempted to write their own framework. I think I've tried to do it at least 3 times. Oh man, that beer is good. Okay, so what's going on in the chat here? Do you think native solutions are going to survive? I don't know. How's your phone doing? It's a good topic for discussion. Cross-platform versus native solutions. I don't know. That's a very boring topic to me. Anything that's been discussed like 5,000 times is pretty boring to me. And also anything that doesn't really have a clear solution. And people that have very opinionated ideas behind this topic, I just find it very non-productive to even talk about it. Okay, Siri Kit, don't know about that. Could you show how to build a custom build a chart? I don't know, I think I've done that like 10 times. I always advocate for native development. Wrapping is a hack, and that only works until what you hack on doesn't change. Yep. Also, if you have a contract or deal with Apple, they have a hard requirement to use Swift, which precludes use of React Native. Yep. Each new update of Xcode breaks the auto-completion. That is true. Although I would say the last 2 Xcode updates have actually gotten the autocomplete to behave more nicely. I feel like it works better than at least 2 years ago. I don't know if they're going to end up breaking it again, but yeah. I haven't worked with other technologies in a while on a consistent basis, so I don't know how other technologies are doing. Like if I were to compare and contrast with Android Studio from IntelliJ, I would say that Android Studio breaks a lot of stuff even more. Like it's a lot worse on Android Studio, especially if you have to constantly update your Gradle build files to match the newest versions. Then you have this compatibility library that you have to implement correctly for backwards compatibility. Oh my god, just thinking about it. You don't have to deal with that on iOS, at least. I'm not sure if this is IPA beer or not. What is Asahi beer? I'm trying to read the can here. Super dry. How can we tell what kind of beer this is? I guess we can search Google, huh? All right. Wow, this has a 2 out of 5 stars. Asahi super dry rate beer. I'm drinking really low grade beer here. I'm interested. What else can you search here? I think I had Sapporo last week. Sapporo. It's a 5. Wow. Sapporo Reserve has an overall 9. All of these beers have pretty bad ratings. What's going on here? Premium lager. What is this number? Sapporo Black has 44. What does that even mean? Jesus. So Armin seems really obsessed with React or cross-platform technologies. I don't know why. I don't really understand the obsession over cross-platform technologies, actually. I think I've worked in development for so long that I've never really done cross-platform. It's weird. I think with me, I don't really have a strong opinion on technologies. So whenever someone asks me for an opinion on something, I really don't have anything to say. The answer is usually go Google it yourself and find out. Whatever that's the best way to answer that question, really. Shinerbach. What is Shinerbach? What are you? Shinerbach. What is this overall 11? Okay. I'll try to find this. Can you make a device to device push notifications in Swift if by using Firebase? Yeah, that's already available in the Firebase Instagram course. The last like 10 lessons go over how to set up Firebase push notifications. So one thing that I want to change about my website is there's really no way to search through the videos. Maybe that's why I get these questions a lot. So maybe next week I'll implement a way to search through the catalog of, I think, 300 videos, maybe 400 at this point. Website's getting a little out of control. Is this sponsored by Behance? I wish they would sponsor me. This would be nice. Anyhow, let me try to find something interesting. Most of these apps are pretty boring, and maybe here's what I'll do. I'll tell you why I think these apps are boring, or maybe boring is the incorrect word. I'll say uninteresting. So if you just look at this, you get some kind of horizontal collection thing. You got a horizontal thing with a vertical thing. It's pretty simple. It's pretty boring. You get this thing. It's a little more interesting, but just a bunch of labels and a couple of image views. You can use a UI stack view here to accomplish this. Same thing, use a vertical stack view and horizontal stack view at the bottom. You're pretty much done. So this right here is not really practical. I'm trying to build a left side panel that has these icons. You'll never see this in an iOS app, maybe in an iPad app, but the screen space is just not enough to include a left side panel like that. Okay, so overall, not that interesting. Let's see, is this one I just clicked into? Okay, let's take a look at this one. So this is more interesting because you actually have a bar chart that goes left to right. I'd probably use like a collection view to build this out, or a collection view controller, either one, and then just build out your bar charts using some kind of multiplier value. And there's a floating little pane with 3 buttons right here. I would use some kind of UI view with a embedded UI stack view that goes horizontal and have these 3 buttons. Maybe I would use a collection view, maybe. Let's see. Okay, so the animations are like impractical. I wouldn't waste my time on all these animations. They're like, A, they're very hard to maintain. 2, they don't really bring a lot of value to the app. So, this screen would not contain all the animations. It looks nice, but trying to maintain your code to even do this is just not worth the effort. So this looks interesting. So we have a slide out menu, kind of like the Twitter menu that we built out. This is just a very simple table view has a header up here, some things on the bottom, maybe a footer or something. This screen, let's see, we have some kind of vertical list. Then we have, I'll shrink you down. Okay. So it's a vertical list, maybe a stack view in the middle with 3 buttons. And then we have a map view. So maps are something I haven't really taught on the channel and the website. Eventually, I should put together a mapping application. Yeah. Okay. So having these charts are really helpful. So if you're trying to build out an application, then handing this to either, the designer should hand this to the developer, or I guess it doesn't matter who hands who what, but creating a workflow to map out the entire application like this would make a lot of sense. User friendly, I don't know exactly what that means. This conversion, click on this button in the middle, then you'll get the conversion of the money. So this is probably pretty hard, this currency chart, the line chart here. How would you do this? So the first thing you would have to be able to do is render out a spline, or at least render out a line chart using either points or some kind of line, and then make sure that you can interpolate all those points to figure out what the curve is and try to get a curve going. I don't think this is that hard, but you have to figure out the algorithm to make these curve lines. So the map is interesting. I have some things inside of my account for, I think, the collections that deals with maps, and I'll try to work on that. What else is interesting? So this is, I don't know, this looks fine. It's what I would consider kind of boring after a while. This looks more interesting than the application itself. Oh, look at this. So this is the type of animation here that is more practical. So this plus button, you click it. It reminds me of what Pinterest used to do with their little button at the bottom. I feel like the font could be a little thicker, or these icons could be stroked a little thicker. Okay, how would you do this? You have to animate this red thing upwards, and then as you animate it upwards, then each one of these views, the alpha of the view comes in, and then when it animates downwards, it does a reverse animation. Okay. When you go into job interviews and you get these questions on how you would build out certain features, this is pretty much what they'll do. Like, they'll give you this screen right here and try to ask you how you would build out this particular feature. And if you can describe your methodology in a coherent way, then most of the time it's a pretty good exercise to see the thought process of someone. That's why it's good to work on a lot of these different types of projects, so that whenever someone asks you, you can deliver a good solution on the spot. That's what I find to be helpful. So if you're just building out constantly like these, let's see, so that's pretty good. If you're constantly working on like UI table views and buttons here and there, when someone asks you how to build out something complicated, you'll probably fail miserably, I would say. So this looks like a bar chart that we built out before. The thing that's hard about the bar charts is the axis labels. trying to get the access labels to be correct. It's not terribly difficult, but it's not trivial. Okay. Building out an app like Dollar Shave Club. I don't have the Dollar Shave Club app actually. Maybe I'll download it right now. Dollar Shave Club. Dollar Shave Club. Dollar Shave Club. Dollar Shave Club. Okay, there it is. There it is. Okay. Yeah. The thing about setting up all these courses for you guys is trying to build out all the data for these freaking screens on some kind of server somewhere, so you can pull down the data, put it onto the iPhone app. Trying to get all that data ready takes time. It's actually something I don't like doing all that much. You'll find that I'm pretty lazy in terms of putting things together. This is fun. Graphic styles. I wonder how long it takes designers to put together these types of graphics. Like whenever I see something like this, I'm always really impressed. And these are really nice designs, and it just visually, it's very appealing. Yeah, this looks good. I can't do this type of thing. How long does it take them to come up with these ideas? It's like super creative. This looks good. Looks good. Looks very good. How much does it cost to hire a developer at this level? Or a designer, rather? These are a lot of screens. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Okay. If I wanted to buy this design, how much would it cost? So you can rate it. Can you buy this? Check out this presentation. Okay. Okay. It's the same thing. Okay, so their agency is 415agency.com. Okay, their website. I hate these types of websites. God, it just makes me want to go away. Just too much animation. Meetup. Social meetup. I would have to say the Meetup app really sucks. If you guys ever use Meetup in the United States, meetup.com, I think their app just blows. Maybe it's better now, but it's pretty terrible. See, this type of design is like not that practical. Trying to even render out something like this is just a pain in the ass. As the developer, I would just tell the designer to redesign the screen. Don't make these crazy curves. I guess if you just have a rounded rectangle, you can get away with it. It's just Oh God, this is too much. I don't like it. Okay, so here's a ride sharing app. So request a ride, confirm, track your ride. Here's the sketch file. So Aber, Uber just recently went IPO and their stock price dropped. What's like $6 from 42? I think it's still down. Eventually it'll climb up. Lyft, their stock price is kind of tanked. Or it's not extremely bad, but it's kind of tanked for the last 2 months. Little cars here. I wonder how you draw these cars. Like, let's say the car is facing southwest, then you have to take the car, flip it in the 190, 180 at 225 degrees in this way. Draw out these two annotations on the map. Allow some kind of purchase payment system. Allow the user to select which car, limousine, promo. I don't use a lot of these ride sharing apps, so I used to when I lived in San Francisco, but now I don't anymore. So what is this? Some kind of card. I guess this is to select the driver. Select the driver that you want. This is a really nice looking screen. I wonder how this would look like in the phone. Maybe I'll work on this. Looks good. Also the protest. Yeah. This app looks really good. Interesting. Wallet payment method. I had an idea to build out something very similar to this a while back. The hardest part was trying to figure out how to build two applications at the same time: the ride app, the driver app, and the ride app. So this would be the rider app, and then the driver app would be maybe this. I'm not sure if they have the rider version of this app, or the driver rather. This is all just from the point of view of the rider. So I was going to build a course out that's similar to this, but I couldn't figure out if I wanted to do like both the rider and the driver version of this app, and trying to sync these two apps together such that when the rider asks for a ride, then it pings the nearest drivers. Trying to set that up is like it's not hard, but trying to explain how all that works would be difficult in like video format, at least. Fun. Would you guys like to work on an application like this? This would be fun. If someone hired me to work on an app like this, I'd do it. I would do it, yeah. With a unique corner radius. So if you're trying to add a shadow on a curve, you just use the layer.shadow. It should work out correctly. Fun. Yeah, one app with option to register as rider and driver. And then what would happen? When you, let's say you register as a rider, when you open the app for the first time, the page should or it should ask you, or I guess you should have the option to find rides. Or what is the option? First, you enter a destination, and then based on that destination, you should be able to get a list of drivers and see how much that driver should cost. So you would have to build out a server that maintains a list of drivers and their driving preferences. So how far they're willing to drive their passengers, and make sure that you have some kind of matching algorithm to list out the drivers. It'd be fun. I wouldn't be able to work on both the backend server and the front end at the same time. That sounds like it would be a good startup idea, obviously. Yeah, that'd be a nice project to work on. Uber for car wash. Hello, real life. Hello, Shiva Skanthan. How's life? No pun intended. Finally, you made the live stream. Backend course needed. Yeah, backend course is needed. So let me just kind of give you my thoughts on a backend course. I would most likely do something simple like a Node.js backend, because it's, to be realistic about it, all backends are pretty similar. And Node.js would be the easiest one to really get into. And I would have to put out a lot of material though on backend technologies to make sure that the students are really comfortable with it. So I'll have to further flesh out how I want to approach that, because the Node.js videos that I put on the channel, I think they did pretty well. A lot of the students liked it. I think if more people are asking for it, then yeah, I had a couple of ideas the other day, but I have to really think about how I want to address all of the complexities of a backend server. The hardest thing really is to make sure that you can maintain the login process, make sure that you have your authentication set up correctly, and somehow to store your users. Once you can get your users to log in, and then your users can hit your server to identify who they are correctly, then after that, everything's relatively simple. Just wondering if the method you use to create a menu in the UI, YouTube app, is this still a good method? Sure. I can't tell if it's a good method or not. I mean, it still works, right? Should we use a view controller instead of a collection view? I don't know, maybe, if you want. There's like 10,000 different ways of doing this stuff, so I don't know what approach you'd like better. I guess I'll have to say that for all of the YouTube videos that I put up, there's like a billion different ways of doing this stuff. So if you think of another solution yourself, then by all means go with that solution. I'm not here to claim that all my solutions are the best. They just, to me, it's they're like really easy to teach, and B, they're like pretty easy to visually conceptualize. So I don't know. There's a lot of like people on the comments always telling me, "Oh, here's a better way of doing this. Why didn't you do it this way?" So I don't know. If you want to do it that way, then do it that way. It's not. I don't exactly focus on the most efficient solutions. I focus on the solutions that are really easy to teach. So make sure to keep that in mind when you're implementing your own solutions. Again, there's 5,000 different ways to do this stuff. Okay, so RXX974 If I build out an Uber style drive sharing, ride sharing app, will I use some kind of socket IO infrastructure? Uh, mm, I guess you would have to, huh? I guess you would have to. I don't really want to deal with socket, like a socket based solution that I would have to implement myself. I would probably just piggyback on whatever Firebase has already built out. So I know not a lot of people like to use Firebase, but it's already built out and I don't have to deal with doing it myself. Maybe I'll just use Firebase, and their stuff is easy to use. Maybe not cheap, but easy to use. Yeah, I'll just stick with that. What does this app look like? Let's see. This is a, table view, collection view thing with a header. Render out some cells. You have your header here, car wash detailing. You have your little view at the bottom. You have your little check boxes. I used to race with my colleagues on building out these screens, see who could do it faster. So this is one of those screens that I remember building out. It's fun. Yeah. Yeah. Scarlet, the food restaurant. Oh man. This app looks so busy. I don't like it. When there's too much going on in the UI, it really turns me off. I don't know if you guys feel the same. So this looks fairly okay. It's not that busy. This screen right here is looking a little. No, it's not a screen. So yeah, this looks good. This looks good. Looks good. Looks good. So I know a lot of you guys are just like learning how to put together iOS applications, and I'll try to tell you what looks good and what doesn't right now. So let's use this example here. Where's my tool at? So Xnip. So here's the tool. Let's use this tool here. So there we go. And let's use this arrow. So something a lot of developers are just blind to, or maybe not developers, but people that are learning how to develop these applications, you should really focus on the spacing here. So there's spacing there. There's spacing here, spacing here, spacing here. So if you take a look at it, they're like really consistent, right? So this space right here is about the same size as this, and they're really nicely spaced out. And then you have the spacing, oh no, not that. So the spacing here as well. And then the spacing here. And then the spacing between each of these lines here, here, and here. So what do I want to say about this? I would say 95% of people that are learning how to develop applications don't pay attention to this stuff. So that's why all of your apps are really ugly looking. So yeah, if you're developing an app and you don't pay attention to this stuff, it's like really ugly. Whenever people submit these applications to me to look at, they're just horrendously ugly. It's not like the end of the world, but you can tell that they're kind of inexperienced at looking at this kind of stuff. So, yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll show you an example of what a really ugly application looks like. What can I do? Okay, I'm gonna search on my Facebook group. So Facebook, let's see, here is the group. So let's see, is this example good? This is like fairly okay. Okay, so just take a look at this example here. You see how the spacing on this is just totally off. Guess how do I minimize this bar here? You can't. If I click on this, what happens? Okay. So let's take a look at this here. And let's look at, how about we look at the spacing here is really tall. It's not consistent with this spacing. So it doesn't have to be, but that's one thing I do notice. There's no spacing here. Why is it so close to the edges? Like, why is it so close to the edge? I don't know. It's also close to the edge here, which is really weird. There's also this spacing down here that's really tall. And there's this spacing here that, I don't know, you should make this space on the left and right as well. This shadow is like really strong. There's also this border around this thing. I don't know, it just doesn't look right to me. Yeah, this doesn't look right, but whatever. So this screen right here looks okay. So wait, where the hell did you go? Exit. Okay, here you are. So let's look at this right here. So these icons are just massive. I feel like they're just really large. Let's probably shrink the icons down a lot. This icon right here is really close to the left edge. It's also really close to this bottom bar. It feels really tight. And this icon right here is really large. So it's weird. And this spacing up here is really tall. Yeah. A lot of people in the notifications. Okay. What else is good? So these Bitcoin apps are always really fancy. Maybe I should actually work on building out my own line chart. Every time I see one of these line charts, I want to build it out. Just don't know exactly what I want to do. So these are all just points that have the dots interpolated between the points to create these curves. You know, a lot of line spline interpolation. A lot of curves. Yeah, that's good. What is this? Haven't seen this yet. This looks really hard to build out. Okay, so some rounded rectangles. Looks like some kind of chat system down below. New competition. It's like a running app. Would it be nice to see you work on an onboarding screen? I think onboarding screens are like really boring. But I think everything's kind of boring at this point. But onboarding screens are especially... The problem with the onboarding screens is they're not that helpful. Clearly too cool for school. I think if I think I also have like a 7-part video series on the YouTube channel where we build out an onboarding screen already. I think it's like the Audible onboarding thing. So I think I've worked on like 3 of these series already. It's already there on the channel. That's why I think it's boring. Anything that I've done before, especially on the channel, it's not something I would like to do again. You guys can understand probably. Yeah. Yeah. I always have this question myself, being an iOS developer for so long. Like, how long do you think we can keep doing this for? Because I've been in iOS development for at least 5 years now. It seems like this industry should start dying some way or other, right? But there's always people that are looking for apps to build out. I don't really know how long we can keep going for. Someday Apple's gonna go away, and whenever that happens, we'll have to move on to the next technology. Why not develop for watchOS? I don't know, because I don't have a watch. Do you know if there's a way to change the duration of a modal segue? Because for my needs, it goes too fast on and off. To have to write a custom segue, I would just write a custom animation thing. Just write a custom, whatever the transition tool is, or just write your own animation transition. Takes like, I don't know, 3 lines of code. The thing with programming is that once you know how to do something, it's beyond easy. You just gotta Google for the thing, find the like 3 lines of code, and you're done. That's like the life of a programmer. Just Google search for the 3 lines of code that you need. I guess it helps if you've been doing it for a long time. What is this? The travel app. Okay. Okay. Huh. This looks fun. I was thinking about buying an Apple Watch for my parents. Maybe I'll get one myself and start playing around with the watchOS SDK. Ray Wenderlich had a huge, like an entire section dedicated to watchOS tutorials. And after like a year, maybe 2 years, they decided to just totally abandon watchOS tutorials. They found that there weren't a lot of people asking for watchOS tutorials, and it just wasn't getting a lot of traffic, so they just canceled that entire thing. I believe their book, the watchOS book, was also canceled. So not a lot of people are really searching for watchOS content. It's the way it is. So I'm still a beginner at some things. I'm pretty confused when I see it for the first time, but I hope I'll gain some experience in the next years. Yeah. So Anton Landersdorfer, how old are you right now, and are you still going to school, or what's the deal with you? Try to be good at iOS first. So Anton, if you're relatively young, then that's good. Everybody has to start somewhere. Just keep in mind, I've been doing this for more than 10 years. So you're probably going to be better at this than I am after 10 years. You'll definitely be better at it than me. '27 and just started developing. Anton is 21 right now and already working. Are you working as a professional iOS developer? Did you just graduate out of a computer science degree program? Aaron Hawkins is 53. That's not too late. That's not too late. If you have the time and dedication, and then I guess more importantly, the passion to, put in the time, put in the work to get good at this craft, then you can definitely be really good at it after 2 years. So after 2 years, you'll be really good. And maybe you've been doing it for some time already. Aaron Hawkins been a nurse for 20 years. That's a transition that I don't see that often. So going from a nurse to an iOS developer, that's great, man. Like if you're still interested in the health industry, there's a lot of developers jobs in like healthcare, building iOS apps. So studying C++ for 8 years, I respect that. I don't have any affinity for C++ programming. So Anton's 21 and says that he's not a professional developer, but he's working as a technician right now for an Apple service provider. But you think you want to go more into iOS programming? Yeah. I think a lot of us are always trying to find something fun as a hobby to get into that's worthwhile. And I think programming is one of those hobbies that are like both very fun, engaging, and challenging, and also they're a really good use of time. So there's a lot of things like watching TV that's totally just all entertainment, but I find that programming covers entertainment as well as being challenging and rewarding. And also at the end of the day, you can be proud of like learning programming. You can't really be proud of watching Netflix for 5 hours a day, which I definitely do sometimes. Aaron Hawkins thought I had a learning problem. Why do you say that? Why do you say you have a learning problem? I would like to understand more of where you're coming from with that statement. Because everyone, like when I went to college, I had terrible grades and I thought I had a learning problem. And it just turns out that college was just not a place that suited my learning style. You could give Up Labs a look as well until I started working. C++ is so very hard to understand without personal direction. Yeah. That's what's great about the internet nowadays. You can always find an instructor that's willing to teach you. Not really teach you, but show the ropes at least to how they operate the development environment, how they operate the terminal, what kind of libraries they use, and their programming structures and styles. There's a lot to be said about just someone being there and hand-holding you through, at least the very beginning, hand-holding you through the setup, the installation, getting things run, and building out something that's like somewhat complicated and seeing that, oh, it's actually not that hard. I feel like that's what school and education should really be about, but for whatever reason, we've stuck with useless books, useless lectures, and useless homework. So Uh, Aaron says, paid you to hold my hand. Well, thank you. Learned most of it in a book after work. Reading design patterns, paid you. Yeah. I wouldn't say that design patterns are like that helpful in the beginning. They're like very interesting in terms of theory. And they're very good to know, but that's like probably not what I would consider priority as beginning developers. Joseph Sukbat Gansuki, will you make tutorials on backend like Node.js? So Joseph, did you watch the videos that I put up on the channel already with Node.js? Because I want to know your opinion on those videos. Singleton in core design was nice. Yeah, you'll find a lot of singletons pretty much everywhere. Apple has their singletons in the UI application class, the UI device, UI screen, notification center, user defaults, all these other frameworks that have singletons. They're everywhere. Use that design for Firebase. Yeah, that's a good idea. It's always a good idea. Have some shared code somewhere that you can access through the singleton. That's what I do a lot too. Anton says, and I made an app, made a 3-year-long apprentice for my job. So I know the basics about electronics, software and networking. Cool. Manu says, your Node.js tutorial were awesome. You explained everything so easy. Please make some more advanced tutorials. Yeah. Could you do a course on drag and drop with table view collection? I think I already have like 2-3 videos on drag and drop on the channel, so I probably won't be doing that. Learn more from your Swift tutorials than I did at a 1-semester Swift class as a major university. That's exactly what I'm trying to provide for people, Glenn. Because I went to university myself, and I had the same exact takeaway as what you just said. The same thing, like going to school. So the biggest problem with school for me is that you waste so much time just commuting to school, going to the classroom, finding a seat, sitting down. Like, you've pretty much wasted an hour of your time just doing that. And then you're sitting in a lecture that's not all that interesting to you, learning something that you don't really care about. And the internet is such an amazing place to just search for things that you want to learn. And that whole process is so engaging. And finding someone to teach you correctly in a way that you can understand, that's so much better than school. So much better. It's unfortunate that we have this current educational system, that we put so much faith in people learning actual skills in universities, where that's actually not really what's going on there. So I'm just trying to do my part in helping the world out, trying to make sure education is practical, fun, and at the very core, I'm just trying to make it available to people that can't find it in the university setting. That's hopefully something that I'm doing correct. Yeah. It's funny because there's a lot of students everywhere around the world, like literally around the world. Like, I have some Chinese students, some Japanese students, Taiwanese, Hong Kong, Singapore. They're everywhere. Germany, Russia. Like, everyone's able to learn just off of these videos here. Like, I don't really care about getting 100,000 views on these videos, because, end of the day, they're programming videos and they're not going to get a bunch of views, and that's not really what I'm looking for. But it's amazing that people can learn. Let's see. Shiva says a differentiator for LBTA is the step-by-step UI. It really helps UI development. Yeah, it does. Just doing the Instagram course was more than enough for me, but I'm itching to do the App Store one as well. Yeah. I feel like the Instagram one is like, there's a lot of content in there, and just seeing the entire application come together through all of the things that you can build using all of these UI kit components, just really, it's amazing what you can put together after you learn all these basic foundational concepts. Same thing with the App Store. It's like you really have to get experience with this kind of thing. It's fun. I like it. I mean, I like teaching. I think I like doing these videos more than I like teaching. So Glenn Adams says core data is next for me, then the App Store. Yeah. Yeah. You know, there are like a lot of students that email me and they ask me, okay, I'm new to programming. I want to learn everything that I need to know about Swift development. Can you give me a course that will teach me everything that I need to know? So I get these emails from time to time. Not a whole lot, but maybe like once every 2 months, I'll get someone asking me this. And the answer that I always have for them is that there's really no easy way to just learn everything from scratch to being a professional developer. Anyone on, like, let's say Udemy or the internet promising you this is pretty much, they're not promising you, they're not really doing it to like help you out. They're really kind of just trying to earn a quick buck, in my opinion. It's literally impossible to learn everything that you have to know. Swift, iOS, UI kit, it's just so vast and so many different topics that you have to go through. Oh my god, that trying to learn it all is it takes like a year to just get the basics down. Yeah, so you really have to spend time and like, okay, I need to build this particular app, and I have to learn all the necessary tools to put this app together. And then once you get these tools down, you like really understand that particular thing, then you move on to the next harder, complicated app. Then you learn all the necessary things for that. And then you move on, and this is how you advance in the world. There's no easy magical pill that you can take, and then all your troubles, all your programming deficiencies will go away. And that's, I guess, unfortunately, that's not how it works. Aaron Hawk says, got to do core data Instagram. Yeah. When am I releasing the source code to the app with custom search controller? When am I going to release that? That's a good question. So is this one? So Fernando, are you talking about this one? So is this really? Let's see. Keyboard come up. This, that. So to build out this app right here, it's kind of complicated. If I just release the source code, if I just release it for sale, I don't know if people will be able to even understand the source code. Maybe I shouldn't have made it so fancy. The fancier these animations, the harder they are to like understand. Man, I can play with this forever. You guys ever get the feeling of like putting together something and just playing with it and just kind of seeing all your hard work come to fruition like this? I'm not sure why this is not working. Tokyo. You're the man. Thanks, man. So Brandon Hamstra says, let's see, let me read this message first. Shiva says, most people tell me your courses are expensive, but I tell them, try one and you will see like you are getting a discount compared to the Udemy courses. Yeah, I fully agree with this statement, and not just because of it's my courses, but I know a lot of the Udemy content is pretty shallow, I would say. And mostly everyone's trying to teach the same basic concepts on Udemy, and they never really go beyond anything basic. And I really hate teaching basic concepts, and that's why I don't do it. So I only teach like pretty advanced topics. Because if I were to, I've said this before, but if I were to teach someone how to put together an IP outlet to a UI button, if I had to do that again, I would kill myself. I would just not do this ever. So Brandon Hampshire asks, how would you get a programming job without a degree? So Brandon, can you help clarify what you mean by this? Because I can take this question in a lot of different directions. So, a lot of people, I've been in companies where a lot of people are working as programmers where they don't have a programming degree. They have a non-related degree, and I think I've met at least one or two people that have absolutely no degrees, just a high school degree, like a GED. And right now, the world is changing. Programmers are coming from all walks of life now. So Aaron says a great part for me too is you teach without a storyboard. Yeah, everyone should learn how to program without the storyboard. It's such a vital part of us as programmers, trying to put together something with code is so much fun. If you're not in it for the code, then I don't know what you're in it for. I'm always in it for the code. I love typing. People that don't like typing and they claim that they want to be a programmer, then that's kind of contradictory. So Joseph says that I think Udemy courses are only great if you want to waste your money and time on just the basics. Yep, I do agree with that. Just want to learn the basics all day, every day, then you just watch Udemy videos all the time. And I'm not saying basics are not, there's a lot of value in those Udemy courses. And by all means, take the Udemy courses if they're helpful for you. They're helpful to a lot of people. And they actually help push people towards my videos and my courses. So don't, I'm not bashing Udemy. They're actually very good. They're very good for me. It's just when pirates put my videos on Udemy, I don't like that. So Udemy is basically doing advertising for me. That's the way I think about Udemy. They're really pushing business for me. So they're good. I like Udemy. They're great. The more Udemy students that they churn out, the better it is for me. Jeremy Henry says, dude, I just popped in to say I love your videos. Man, that's nice. Thank you. Storyboard equals merge conflicts and Git. So Isaac says, I'm the reason why you moved from Xamarin to doing native. So doing native, doing their Instagram course right now. I'm loving Swift as well. Yeah, I love Swift. Swift is awesome. It's really easy to learn, and it comes with a lot of things that beginners will enjoy. So type inference and not having to type too much code. That's great for beginners. Like something like JavaScript is hard because you don't understand what types are. It's like you can omit types, and I don't think that's helpful. There's already plenty of basic Swift and iOS courses out there. You do well. You do well doing what you do. Specific use cases and concepts that are more advanced and abstract. Yeah, just trying to do as advanced as I can. I love it. I love just doing things that are hard. I hate doing things that are easy. So when people ask me to do things that are super easy, it's a turnoff for me, at least. Planning an app, would I go with Flutter or Swift? I would go with Swift because that's what I know. That's pretty clear-cut reason. Storyboard, merge conflict, prefer zibs. Yeah, zibs are great. Whenever I use zibs, I find that it's easy to modify the zip files. It's a lot easier than modifying the code. So that's why I like zibs. But I find sometimes you just can't really do zibs that cleanly. I don't like doing I guess for cells, table view cells and UI collection view cells, the zibs are perfect. But when you're trying to construct like a manual view using a zib, you have to do that dequeuing process or the bundle thing. I don't like doing the bundle thing. You probably know what I mean. Yes. So Manu says Manu lives in Germany and he's chosen an apprenticeship as a developer. In my opinion, it's much better than university because you get paid and you can learn all you need. That's what life, like this is the direction that we should be going towards. Apprenticeships and not wasted 4 years of college learning absolutely nothing. So this is amazing. I'm really happy for you, Manu. Brandon Hampshire says, you see a lot of Swift jobs that have the bachelor's degree required. How would you go about getting a job like that without a degree? Do you skip those kind of jobs? I think in this day and age, almost all job requirements will have a bachelor's degree required. It doesn't matter what industry you're trying to apply for. The good thing is that I don't think anyone really looks at that when they're trying to hire programmers. Or I guess what I'm trying to say is that a lot of startups don't care about this. A lot of startups will rather take a look at your portfolio of applications and they want to see if you've built out something similar to what their startup idea is. Then if they can see that you already understand like how to do this stuff, then what's really the reason why they would exclude you from working there? Like programmers know, like at least good programmers know that programming is just a skill that you just work at for a really long time and you get really good at it. It's not exactly that important that you have a degree. My next t-shirt, I'm in it for the code. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good one. I'm in it for the code. That's good. Oh, I'm gonna write that down. Okay, text edit. Now you can come up. Text edit. Where are you? Text edit. Okay, there it is. I'm in it for the code. I like it. Give myself a pat on the back for that one. Shiva says, time for work. Just wondering if there's an invite list for live sessions. I kind of miss it all the time because they're too early. No, I think, yeah, there were some of my courses on Udemy, but I filed the takedown. What about books? I think I've said this before, but I find that books for me are totally not helpful. And that's just me. I know a lot of people that love books and enjoy books and get a lot out of it. I get zero value out of books. So that's why I don't have any books at all. Michael Evans, the LBTA tools are awesome. Thanks for developing and releasing them. When you do the video for the list controller, could you go into a little more detail about the generics work? I have trouble. So Michael Evans, I just recorded a video today on the list controller and how to use it for this screen here. So are you still here? Okay, so for this screen, we're going to use a list controller. And that's what we're going to build out. The video is going to be out tomorrow morning. So whenever that happens, you should have the notification, hopefully. And we're going to turn this screen into this screen here. And then I think that's going to wrap it up for the list controller. So we're going to add this header at the very top here. And I think I'll release... I'm working towards releasing this code for the Tinder Firestore course. And I have a lot of it ready. I just need to prepare the lessons. Oh, the screen isn't showing. That's a fail on my part. Sorry guys. Okay, so here's the screen for the LBTA tools app that we want to work on. This is a list controller. And it contains a couple of different items. This will be released tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And basically this, the code that takes to build out this stuff is like really easy using the LBTA tools framework, just super easy. And then we'll eventually move on to putting this header on the top of this screen here. So it's good. It's good. Oh yes, the bundles. I should make some clothes branding LBTA. I should. I had a talk with a friend about how to do that. Just not sure how much I want to invest in getting that up and running. If you want to start with Swift and iOS development in general, the standard university course on iTunes is amazing. Then you can come back to LBTA courses for more advanced stuff. Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the standard, the Stanford course, like they get a lot of hits, and the guy that teaches it he probably does a really good job at it. Remain selected upon reopening the app using Firebase. I think this is pretty standard if you just... Actually, this is a good question. I've seen this bug when you background and foreground the app, that the selection seems to go away. I'm not sure why. I'll have to get back to you on that one. So Chow WK says, you've been working on iOS development for 4 years, and I'm still searching on Google and Stack Overflow for how to change the navigation background. So I don't need to search for that because I've done that like 50 different times. So I think I know how to do it, but I probably will still Google it. There are a lot of different other bits of code that I have to Google. That's like really simple. What is something that I have to Google? Like changing the title text attributes for the nav bar. I think I know how to do that now because I just recently searched for that. What's something very common that I have to search for over and over? Here's one. Whenever I implement UI text view or UI text field, whenever I have to monitor when a UI text field, the text changes, I think there's like 2 different ways of doing that, and I never remember which one of the ways are better. So I always have to search for this kind of things myself. Oh, it's been an hour and 40 minutes. I think I'm gonna check out really soon here. So what is this? Show this. And let's see. Ooh, okay. I think I looked at this the other day. Okay. Now this would fall into my bucket of animations that's not that helpful. Like, it looks cool, but practical? Is it practical? I don't think so. How would you do this? How would you do this? How would you do this? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, how would you do this? Would you just have a cutout? I guess you can have some kind of view. You can imagine this thing right here being on a horizontal plane and you're just shifting it left and right. And if this thing is like really wide, then if you shift it left and right, it would just look like this. And yeah, you would just have some kind of shape and you would mask it off on the left and right edges with some other mask shape. And you would just move this shape right here, left and right. And, you know, the rest of it is pretty easy. You just change the alpha of these guys and you would have this animate somehow. I would say this is why you don't find this type of animation in iOS a lot, is it's not practical. If you're trying to implement this, then I would say you're wasting your time. Because, yeah, just not practical. You're just wasting your time. Yeah, you would just use Lottie and After Effects. That's probably better. I'm trying to do this in Swift code. I'd rather not. Can developer and designers become friends? I remember I had a designer when I was working at Tetra Modern, and he had a lot of different ideas, but because he had experience actually writing some Swift applications himself, he knew how hard it was to build out really specific screens. So, like, he had some sympathy for the developers, so he didn't really design the screens to be that complicated, which made it really easy to work with. And it's always helpful to have people that understand the life of a developer, to know that while nothing is impossible, you still have to understand that time is still a huge constraint. Yeah. Layered PSDs. Yeah, I can't claim to know exactly how this is built out. I would say that this animation is kind of ugly too. To me, this animation is kind of ugly. I wouldn't want to build this out. Like, this shape moving from left to right feels like it comes from some 1990s Mac app. It just looks really, it doesn't look that modern. It feels like, yeah, late 1990s, this animation feels like. Sometimes designers have CS degrees and make working models out of code mocked out. Yeah, some designers are really good. Like, the designers that are on this Behance website are like really on their stuff. It looks retro. Yeah, it looks retro. If you're really trying to go for this retro look, then yeah, let us know if you can find the implementation. So the open source component is on GitHub. You find it online and you can download the source code. It's probably using some Lottie framework thing. Ooh, React Native. Okay. You know, I miss doing layout like this, where it's, what do you call this? Is it DSL? Where it's like, it's kind of XML formatted, just the layout. The reason why I like it is because you can just look at it and you can visually see what it's trying to do. Whereas Swift code is a little bit gnarly. The stack view, the stacking library that I put out, kind of puts the views in this type of deal. Anyhow, okay, so looks like that's going to be it for today's live stream. Declarative, that is what it's called. Yeah, very Android-esque layout here, even though it's React Native. Yeah, I wish iOS had something like this. Kind of wish it would go back to the days of being more sensible. Anyhow, stack views really handle a lot of this stuff better than years past. Okay, I am gonna check out, grab something to eat, and then I'll try to work on some more videos for another day, another time, and another life. So thank you everyone for checking out the stream today. I will see you guys again maybe 2 weeks from now. Probably not going to do a live stream again. Bye guys.